This is the Touchdowns and Tangents podcast, episode number 72. I'm Pete D. Camarillo, one half of the show. On this week, Kenny and I dive into Hard Knocks, sports gambling, and a bunch of other topical NFL news headlines. We also end the show by going on rants about Spotify, Rolling Loud, and, well, our lives. If you like this show, we urge you to subscribe it wherever you're listening. Stitcher, Podbean, Radio Public, Speaker, all the above. Listen up. Peace. I want to start with sports gambling, man. It's finally legal in this. Well, technically, it's not really legal.
But Jersey has been on the forefront of this because Jersey's always on the forefront of gambling and such. So does that mean Pete Rose gets in the Hall of Fame now?
I'm not sure. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure I'm not sure who approved it. Was it the Supreme Court?
Supreme Court approved it, but
Yes.
Jersey was
so
like one of the main
basically,
people fighting it.
Supreme Court ruled that they're going to leave it up to the states to determine gambling on sports.
Federally, it's illegal to restrict sports gambling.
And that's also actually good just for states' rights in general, including medicinal cannabis for those of you who are smokers out there. So it was actually a win all the way around. If you want to get your gamble and your smoke on.
Unless you're an NCAA athlete.
You can do both in Vegas.
Unless you're an NCAA athlete, then you still don't get paid and you can't smoke weed. Sorry.
And shout out to the Indian sanctuaries, because that's probably where people are going to spend their money, where they don't have to worry about it getting taxed.
Native American, Indian, I don't know anymore.
Yeah. So KB, what do you make of the whole gambling situation?
Honestly, it's just a matter of time. It's kind of a no-brainer. People already gamble on sports. That's why, like, companies like DraftKings, other companies have come out of that.
Yeah, and they've actually said that they're not gambling, and they spent all this money saying that they're not sports gambling, and now they're refocusing on actually taking bets, which is crazy when you think about it, because so many people, including myself, have an account with them. So they're going to make it seamless and easy for you to bet and gamble legally. And they already have the technology to basically know exactly where you're at. They've already got the lobbyists, and they've basically got the infrastructure to set up a legit online sports gambling and pretty much eat up everyone else's share.
Yeah,
they're going to take the whole share pretty much.
They're Skynet. If you look at it from the context of, okay, you have all this money that's going to be made hand over fist. Well, what about all the people who got busted for for gambling? Like, do you decriminalize what they did now? Let's say people in the NCAA, if they want to gamble.
Probably depends on the state.
Like I said, Pete Rose. Since gambling's legal in sports now, y'all finally going to get off your high horse MLB and put him in the Hall of Fame because he is your all-time hits leader? I know we don't talk baseball, but gambling sports is kind of a big deal. You kind of just you pulled a Thanos and snapped your fingers, and now we all have to kind of live in this world. So,
and I guess that's my question, right? Because it's been outlawed for so long, because we've seen point shaving in specifically college sports, mostly college sports, amateur sports, where people aren't making money and people have a reason to want to make more money.
The mafia and or crime syndicates, or whoever you want to say, whatever name you want to use. People, enforcers, bookies,
they're
people
low
apply pressure.
They're low, yeah, exactly. They're low profile enough to get pressure applied, and they're low profile enough to go underneath the radar. So really,
never be prosecuted.
Really, college sports is a perfect storm for that.
College sports is money laundering. If you think about it, the only people who get laundered are the student athletes, quote unquote student athletes.
I don't know how it's money laundering.
Well, think about it. When you launder money through something clean, that clean thing, I should say, would actually be like the money that they're making through gambling and other stuff. They've been laundering it through sports forever, getting free labor in return for billions of dollars, and then they use that on advertising and everything else, and then they kind of give a small percentage of it back, and they say, oh, well, we do revenue sharing and all this other stuff with the TV contracts and all that. Now people are going to be gambling on, okay, well, how much stock do I have in this company? Let's say, how much stock do I have in a company that maybe I want them to, give top of the line ads or whatever. Let's say I go to them with the option of, I don't know, like free. Let's say like not DraftKings, but let's say no. Let me finish because you're shaking your head.
Yeah, you're losing me. I think you're losing yourself, to be honest.
No, I'm just saying how they're going to use this to be really dirty. It's like you have like a company, let's say kind of like DraftKings or whoever. They're offering their resources to, let's say, I don't know, TV company, whatever, for more money, extra advertising. It seems like an innocent deal, right? They're just trading advertising dollars for whatever assets DraftKings or whoever may give them. So they're allowed to bet.
Bro, what are you talking about?
Bro, I'm saying it's what's the saying? Quid pro quo. Like, I feel like companies like that now
you're explaining metaphors with more metaphors. Because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, I do know what I'm talking about. It's just they probably already been doing it. It's like, let's say I have a resource I can give you that we can trade, and in return, I get more advertising. You get the money that I'm actually going to be making from whatever my business is.
But what does this have to do with college sports and betting?
I'm telling you, let's say these organizations, these teams that have like deals set up, TV deals set up, whatever, the money that they'll get from advertising, let's say they have DraftKings as an advertiser. On top of that, you're pretty much advertising gambling, sports gambling, right? But then when you come back from commercial, you have kids who aren't being paid. And then people are gambling on that event that everyone can see, but the commercial says DraftKings or whatever. In the stadium, they have advertisement that says DraftKings or whatever that you can see. You don't see anything wrong with that or kind of shady? That everybody is getting money off this deal, and they're going to get even more money now with the sports gambling being legalized, except the athletes. Everyone's pockets get fatter, but college athletes, and even some pro athletes.
I still don't really know what point you're making, because that's like anything. That's like any product that you advertise. That's like saying
no, but now that sports gambling isn't illegal, now they can just be
well. The
open
NCAA hasn't even accepted it yet. And I don't think they will, because it's not going to be
openly. They won't.
It won't be a federal legal thing, so therefore they won't have the jurisdiction to allow it into every single school that they body and govern. But I think what you're trying to say is like, it's like anything, like any sort of advertising that's in stadium or on TV and that you immediately have access to, that's good advertising. That's why I don't understand what you're saying.
This rule
and really, I should really recluse myself from this organization, from this whole entire conversation, because I've worked on those accounts. So, yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there for people to think about. I'm still doing the research myself, but it just seems like now that this veil has been lifted off states, there's even going to be more money to be made. Like, imagine if you put your thumb on a water.
But that's
hose.
your point. That's not money laundering. That's just people making money and
I
not
just feel like
sharing
athletes are being pretty much used.
Yeah, but that's not
labor.
money laundering.
But that's why I said money laundering, because essentially athletes are pretty much just their efforts are being used to garner even more money, and they say, look, it's legitimate, and then we're giving it back through scholarships and all this other stuff. But whatever. I just have a serious beef with the fact that none of these athletes, if you find out a pro athlete, let's say the entire Alabama team.
So before we got on this
DraftKings.
whole thing, the whole thing I was trying to say
It's a win for everybody.
was the reason why it's been outlawed is because of this whole integrity thing, right?
Kind of like alcohol was.
Integrity of the game. Like, we don't want any athletes to jeopardize that, like we've seen in college sports as far as point shaving and stuff like that. So what I was trying to get to is that, do you see this being an issue in the NFL? Because, like you already said, nobody's making any money in college football. That's why it's been no one's making any money in college sports. That's why point shaving has been an issue in college sports, and we've seen it happen like 3 or 4 or 5 times.
But now that gambling's, it's probably going to be
now
legal
that
in
it's
some states,
legal.
they won't have to point shave.
Why do you say that?
Well, because they're only point shaving to guarantee a win. But since it'll be legal,
I don't think you know enough about sports gambling. I think that's what I'm getting off of it.
No, I feel like, but
do you understand
will
what
it
point?
Not, will it not matter?
Do you understand what point shaving is, though?
Yeah, I'm saying not the.
No, but like, do you really know what it is?
Well, from the player's aspect, pretty much purposely doing things that will guarantee the score will be a certain way.
Exactly.
Over-unders.
So pretty much what point shaving is it's allowing the 1 or 2 points. Basically, it's jacking up a 3 to cover the spread.
Yeah.
It's not getting that rebound or not playing defense and letting someone score so that they get closer even though you're going to win anyways.
It's like going for 2 at the end of a game and you're going to lose by 3. Just to stay in the spread.
Exactly. So
some people may not even know it, but like D1 schools have literally almost gotten the death penalty because of it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Do you foresee this being an issue in the NFL specifically? Because we have, like I said, we've seen it even in baseball with Pete Rose, the whole integrity.
Gambling while you're a manager on your team or against your team.
The conflicts of interest.
Thank you for that. Should you call the police over a conflict of interest?
But yeah, basically what I'm saying is sports gambling being legal, the death of integrity to sports.
I'm saying there was never any integrity to begin with. Like, the business of sports is to make money. That was always the case.
I think as fans,
somebody said, let's get a bunch of really talented athletes together, put them on the field, and then put them in a big-ass stadium, because we know people want to see it, charge popcorn, parking, all that. All you do is own some land. Boom. If you build it, they'll come.
And I think
I'm mad you cut that short.
Us as fans, because we've all played the game at some sort of level, and we all love it because it brings a sense of both, achievement, merit, hard work, teamwork, all those different things you pick up from whatever different sport you play. We attach those things to the professional level, but really, like you said,
that don't
it's
exist.
The professional level.
The thrill
it's
of
money.
victory, the agony of defeat.
And money.
Everything's a business.
Exactly.
High school football is a business, bro. I was watching a Instagram video that Deion Sanders had. He was like, you got all these coaches telling these kids, pay me and I'll help you run a 4-2. What they're really saying is 4-2 or 4-3, and they're like, no, what they're really saying is pay me $300 for training your kid. And I was like, okay, that was a little cool slip of, tongue in cheek. But it's a lot of these like trainers who say they can help your kid run a 4-3 or 4 whatever. And it's like, that kid's never gonna run a 4-3. That kid ran a 4-7 at his peak. He's not jumping up to a 4-3. That's not how life works.
I've lost you again.
Okay, I'm gonna go back.
I don't know what this has to do with anything.
Athletics, like we were talking about, they sell us athletics in this goal and this dream of integrity and all that. But it's a business transaction. Yeah. The same way trainers say they can help your kid run faster when it's like your kid was running a 4.8 as a freshman. He's not running a 4.2 as a senior. It's not happening. You're just paying out money for a dream. People are being sold a dream, and that dream is athletics.
But
it's